Well, we're having some technical difficulties, but welcome to our Democratic Black Caucus meeting. We do have some inclement weather as well. And our speaker has been delayed because she was just coming out of her last meeting and there was a deluge of water coming down. But we're going to go ahead and get started with our Pledge of Allegiance. How's that? Okay. Please stand for those in the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have anyone, Mr. James Cole, in our First Baptist Church location? I really would like them. If you are there, please unmute yourself. Okay. I guess they are not on just yet. All right. Well, I do want everyone to know that there's a trial just ended. And that trial was actually about gerrymandering. So the state of Florida was sued by the ACLU. And that trial was Monday through Thursday. So it just ended today. And that had to do with Mr. Rouson's seat, Senator Rouson. And the ACLU believes that that was a form of voter suppression because they took the Black folks who are in South St. Pete and added them onto the Hillsborough seat. So they do see that as a form of voter suppression. So we will not know the verdict for about a month, but I did want you to know that was a very important trial that took place in Tampa. And when our second vice president comes on, he didn't want to give you a little recap because he did at least 3 days at the trial. Yes. Also, we are going to be having a table at the Juneteenth event, and we are looking for people to staff that table. We feel it's a very important night that we have a presence at Juneteenth. That's Rock the Block. That's the 21st day of June. Yes, this month on Saturday. All volunteers need to be there by 2 o'clock, if possible, because that's our setup time. And then it ends at 9. So if you're going to be coming later, I'm going to have to actually walk to the gate, pay for your entrance, and bring you in, because they're only letting the people in free of charge before 2 o'clock. Okay. Guess what? That is the same day as our phone bank. So that is the day that we are calling our Black voters to let them know that if you have not renewed your vote by mail ballot, it's not coming because the governor of Florida has canceled all vote by mail ballot requests. We are no longer going to be meeting at what was the former DEC office. That building has been sold in Temple Terrace. So we are going to move to the offices of Mr. Cedric Howell, and he is a financial planner downtown Tampa. He owns his own building, and he's given us the use of the building from 9:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock. So I am hoping that you, friends, all Democrats are invited to just sit there and call the voters and just because we know everybody who has not renewed their ballot yet. So we are going to call them. There's 100,000 Black registered Democrats in Hillsborough County. So we got a lot of people, because a lot of people are saying, hey, it's not voting time yet. So why do you want to do that? Because we got a lot of people to get through between now and then. We also have a big event next month. It is going to be our swearing in of our officers. That is going to be at the First Baptist Church in Progress Village. And that's going to be our regular meeting time at 6 o'clock. So I hope you can attend. And we're going to invite all the electeds to come in. We're going to invite all the movers and shakers, anybody who can attend. We're going to invite them to come down and see the officers being sworn in. And by the way, we need a secretary. So if you feel so moved to be a secretary for the organization, we would love to have you. Now, Julia Jackson, who is the photographer for the Florida Sentinel, has agreed to be our PR marketing person. So I'm excited about that. She already introduced me to the newly installed pastor at the College Hill Church of God in Christ, and she knows all the pastors. So we're really, really excited about that because she's going to introduce me to all the pastors. Let's see. Rhonda, did I forget anything? For people that are new, I know we have at least a couple of new people. The Democratic Black Caucus is a part of the Democratic Party. We're one of the many clubs and caucuses, just like the LGBTQ caucus, the Women's Caucus, so many caucuses. We're a big tent party. So whatever you feel is your place to be. We hope it's a Black caucus, but you certainly are invited to all the other clubs and caucuses that you feel like you might like to attend. We always want to invite you to our Democratic Party meeting for Hillsborough County. Now, that is always the third Monday of every month at 6 o'clock. They've been moving around a lot. So I'm not exactly sure where they're going to be for June, but their meetings are always available online. We also want to encourage people to be precinct captains. Does anybody know what a precinct captain is? Lois knows. Fran Tate knows. Lois, would you like to tell people what a precinct captain does and why you need them so desperately right now? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lois. She works for the Democratic Party for Hillsborough County.
She's a volunteer with the Democratic
She's about she works for free.
And I am the credential chair for the HCDEC, as well as I am the regional director for Region 3 of the county is broken up into 7 regions, and I am regional director, which the Progress Village and this area that we're in at C. Blythe Andrews falls within those areas. And what a precinct captain is for every precinct that in the county, you would be the person that would be charged with kind of mobilizing your precinct of Democrats in your precinct. You would be the person during an election, getting out the vote, knocking on doors, as Angela talked about, calling your precinct. And because it's such a big job and a lot of our precincts are very large, we're now looking at doing some things a little different, in that we might start, especially with people that are new, so that we don't run you off and you're not afraid, is maybe make you a street captain. You take 5 or 6 streets in your community where you live, and you work those 5 or 6 streets to get all the family members, all the grandchildren, everybody in those homes, knocking on those doors of Democrats to get them registered. You would be like an educator of what the needs are in your community and what you're voting about, and kind of educating, because a lot of what happens with our young people is they're not educated on why they need to vote until something happens and it's kind of late, like their services get cut or things like that, and needing to vote all the time, not just in a presidential election, because your local and state people have more to do with your life every day than the president does. So that's what a precinct captain would do. The precinct captain would manage the entire precinct, but we are looking at doing something smaller to kind of make it a little more amenable to people that are new at it, to have you work just a few streets in your precinct or your neighborhood, and try to do it in that way. So if anybody's interested or wants any more information about that, please let me know. You want to put your phone number? 813-417 1201. Lois Davis. Or if you're interested in joining, if you're just a member of the Black Caucus and you're interested in joining the Hillsborough County Democratic Party as a that would be as a precinct captain, then I am the credentials person that you fill out the application and I vet you as a Democrat to join the party.
Say your number one more time.
813-417-1201. Thank you.
Thank you.
Forgive us that we have a big picture of Angela Birdsong on the screen. We have no idea how to get it off of there. We even have an IT man here. We just don't know how to get it off. Because usually when you turn on your camera, the picture goes away, but it's not going away. Lydia Hudson, are you available to speak with us about what's going on the national and state level?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our former state president, Lydia Hudson, former state
I'm
president
sorry.
for the
I'm not in a
Democratic
place
Black
where
Caucus.
there's good lighting. Good evening, everyone. As Angela stated, my name is Lydia Hudson. I am the lead state committee woman here in Hillsborough County, and I am a voting member of the Democratic National Committee. As it relates to what's going on in this state, this weekend, there are going to be several of us who will not be in town. We will be in Hollywood at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel for the Florida Democratic Party's annual Leadership Blue meeting, which is really one of the biggest fundraising events that they have of the year. And we'll also be having our Central Committee meeting on that Sunday. Central Committee is a committee of people throughout the state that are Democrats that are part of the infrastructure of the Democratic Party. And that committee is responsible for like operations. So they'll be the ones that will be voting this Sunday on the Florida Democratic Party's budget. So those are kind of things that are going on the state level. On the national level, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that there has been that the two vice chair positions for the Democratic National Committee, those had been contested. There was a grievance filed, and the Credentials Committee agreed with the person that filed the grievance. What she indicated was that because of the way that the election was held for those last two positions, that the minority females were disenfranchised in the way that it was handled. And the Credentials Committee did agree on that. There was some information that was provided to us. I actually watched the whole Credentials meeting, and to make a long story short, the whole DNC throughout the nation, voting members of the DNC actually voted, started on Monday, ended on yesterday, to vote as to whether we accepted the Credentials Committee and whether or not there would be a revote or not. And we did vote 75% to do a revote. I was a part of those people that voted yes. And the reason that I did was because anytime we do anything that disenfranchises or questions the credibility of a vote, I think as Democrats, we should stand up against anything like that. So I voted to yes, do a revote. I'm sure you guys have been hearing about David Hogg, which is one of the vice chairs that were impacted by this, and his interpretation or his spin on why this was happening. But it was a procedural thing. It was not something that was done because people did not want David Hogg. So that vote, like I said, happened. They gave us that window that ended yesterday. We voted to yes, do the revote, and the revote started today. shortly after the revote was completed on yesterday, David Hogg indicated that he was not going to run for re-election. So he won't be in the running because he withdrew his name. After we vote this time, which this vote ends on Saturday for a mail, then we'll be starting a new vote on Sunday to do the second vice chair that needed to be replaced or re-voted on, and that will be any gender. You can vote man, woman, or binary, whatever your identity is. So it could be any person that is an eligible member of the DNC that was on the ballot on that day and still eligible to be elected. Anyone have any questions for me? Try to give you a quick overview.
Now, Leadership Blue, is that this coming weekend or next weekend?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's next weekend. Next weekend. I'm sorry. That's next weekend.
Okay, okay.
I think I was.
And you
I
want
think
to you want to just tell people what Leadership Blue is again?
It's the biggest fundraiser that the Florida Democratic Party has. You'll have Democrats from all over the state. A lot of the donors will show up to the different events. We'll have a big gala, which is this year's speakers will be Senator Cory Booker and Governor Andy Beshear. Those are events that you will have to pay for. There's also a VIP reception that if you want to go to, you would have to pay for. There's a general reception that is at no charge to the people that have bought gala tickets. And they will have trainings there throughout the day on Saturday. So not only is it a fundraising event, it is also an event that there will be training throughout the day. And like I said, it is an annual event. And it is actually open. It's actually open to any Democrat. The event on Sunday, which is the Central Committee meeting, Democrats can't come, but the only people that can vote are members of the Central Committee. And somebody just put something in the chat with a question.
Yep, we have two hands raised. The first one was Linda.
Okay, Linda.
Oh, I'm sorry, I put my hand down, but I just wanted to ask a quick question then of Lydia. Lydia, do you know who is on the ballot for the vice chair now? I assume Malcolm Kenyatta is still on, and who else?
Malcolm is the only male, so as long as he gets, I think, 40% of the vote, he will actually be the person. So it still has to be a vote. It's not something that they just automatically give you because no one else is on the ballot.
Okay.
And then so that would mean that when all of this started, there were 3 women, I believe, 3 women and 2 men. Malcolm and David were the men that were left, and the 3 women were the woman that filed the grievance, Miss Free, Chastity Conrad, I think that's her last name, and Gina Repass out of Kansas. She is a Black woman that is the chair of the Kansas Democratic Party. They were the 3 women. So just wanted to, so once Malcolm is elected, then in all actuality, the next person elected will be a woman because those are the only ones that are still eligible to run.
James Cole has a question.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you, Lydia, for giving us the insight. Has there been any discussion at your level and with the state Black Caucus? And Angela, please put perspective on this if you've heard about us having trainings and talking about how we should use these statewide events. Has anything been brought to your attention as far as the Black Caucus is concerned, Lydia?
Not as it relates to the Black Caucus. Okay. I have been in contact with the new vice chair of the Florida Democratic Party that will be over Black voter outreach. His name is Curtis. Oh, please. I think it's Curtis Johnson. Okay. He's out of the St. Lucie area. For those of you who are FAMU alumni, he used to be the president of the FAMU Alumni Association. I have been in conversations with him, and he will be coming up with a strategy on what we should do through the FDP. Now, the Democratic Black Caucus, I don't know how much they will be involved with his strategy because I haven't seen his strategy and we haven't worked on his strategy together. Now, as a DNC member, I have been charged with coming up with some programming for Black women. So it's called the Black Women Working Group, and it will be specifically for Black women, but still under the umbrella of what Curtis is doing. So you guys will be hearing more about that moving forward. And also for those of you, because I'll be having a call with our delegation that's going down to Fort Lauderdale, but just so that you know, we had some issues with the budget from the Budget and Finance Committee. The original budget that was presented to us was approved 7-6. And we were able on the last meeting to make some adjustments to that budget. And while it's still not what we would have wanted it to be, it is a better budget. A lot of people that I was contacting as a DNC member, they want us to raise money for the Florida Democratic Party. Those that know me know that I'm not really a hypocritical person. And it was really hard for me to fight for other people to give money when I didn't even want to give my own money, because the budget did not have any line items specifically for African American outreach, Hispanic outreach, or even small county outreach. And in Florida, we need that. And I really, just to get off on a tangent here for just a few seconds, Madam President.
Okay, we have one last question, and then we're going to have our speaker. She has arrived.
Okay. Go ahead.
Um,
Well, before we do the one question, I just want to frame what I was asking Lydia, who's our past president for the state Black Caucus. I just want us to know that when these state events happen at the state level, it's an opportunity for us to show a unified front as far as the existence of the Black Caucus, whether at the local level or the state level. And it would behoove us to figure out, whether through the state officers, whether talking to our current DNC officer who is a former state president, how we can make sure next year we have a presence at Leadership Blue and any other state event that gives us a chance to say to the Democratic Party, we're here to be a voice for our community, but there has to be a way for us to be seen and a way for us to demonstrate how many members we represent around the state. I'm not saying that we go and take issues, we go through the proper channels of our officers, but if we can start showing up in the proper numbers, the DNC has to be able to say, how often are we communicating? Are we actually getting the information to the Black Caucus? Because they are showing up and they are at the table.
okay, and the person who just spoke is our Hillsborough County second vice president. And the last question we have, did you say how the female voters were disenfranchised? And if you did, can you repeat it, please?
My biggest concern with the budget and what we're hearing always about the elections. This past cycle, we did 92% as Black women. And I still heard that Black women let Kamala down because we had previously been at 94%. And I got a little angry. I don't usually let people that I don't care about piss me off, but that bothered me because I just felt that the audacity. First of all, y'all get the 90% in your constituency group, and then you could come talk to us. How about even if you get to at least 80% in your constituency group, and then you come talk to us? And that was my biggest thing, because we did not have a line item for African Americans in our FDP budget. And we are the community that's always blamed with elections. We're the ones that are always blamed, specifically Black people, but all minorities, but specifically Black people and Hispanics. We're blamed, but we're the ones that no one comes in to our communities to put any money in there until 4 weeks before election, 6 weeks before an election. So
Okay, thank you so much, Lydia. And you know what? I agree wholeheartedly with you, because the reason why Black people are the heart and soul of the Democratic Party is we still are the consistency, the constituency that shows up every time as a block. All right, I am so happy to introduce our speaker for the evening, and she has braved the rain to come through here and get to us today. Thank you so much. Today, as Public Defender of Hillsborough County, Florida, Lisa McLean brings practical experience, unwavering integrity, and compassionate leadership to the office. She oversees a team of approximately 200, mute yourself, please. Approximately 220 employees, including about 120 attorneys, and remains focused on delivering effective and efficient legal representation while treating every client with dignity and respect. Under her leadership, the office is tackling the root causes of crime, addressing the barriers to successful reentry, and implementing forward-thinking reforms, including responsible use of artificial intelligence and strong fiscal stewardship. Will you please help me welcome Lisa McLean, our Hillsborough County Public Defender. We have audiences in 3 places.
All right, I see that. Good evening, everyone. Everyone in the room, everyone in Zoom land. Look at that hair. I'm telling you. I look at that picture sometimes and I'm thinking, what is up with that hair? It's like a little helmet. Want to talk to you for a second about what our office does, because I've noticed that as I travel around the community, a lot of folks know, but there's a lot of people that don't really understand the role of the public defender. So you should know that this idea of public defense, which is, essentially the idea that if you are charged with a crime, you have the opportunity potentially to have a lawyer provided for you that will represent you against the state of Florida. That has only been a thing in the state of Florida since 1963, which is really quite amazing when you think about it, that before 1963, if you were charged with a crime, if you couldn't hire your own lawyer, you were on your own. The only cases where the state was providing free defense was if you were charged with a capital murder. So everything else, and believe me, there's lots of other very serious things you could be charged with that are going to cause you to potentially go to prison for a very long time. So it's a beautiful thing that Florida embraced this idea. And the Gideon case, which is what caused the creation of the public defender, actually came from the state of Florida. So we're a little bit cutting edge when it comes to those kinds of issues. There are a lot of states that do not do what we do as far as having offices that are solely dedicated to public defense. There are many other states where they are private lawyers that sort of as a side job, as a second job, they do this thing of representing people that are charged with crimes. That is not the best way to do it. Trust me when I tell you, the lawyers in my office, first of all, they are absolutely committed to the mission of public defense. And this is all they do. I have young lawyers in that office that went to law school specifically to be public defenders. So these are lawyers that are, first of all, we're lawyers, because there seems to be this perception sometimes in the community that we are somehow interns or like a residency if you are a doctor. We are full-fledged barred lawyers that are there, that are appointed by the court to represent people that are charged with crime. And that's all we do. We don't represent people that have any other legal issues going on. We don't do landlord-tenant stuff. We don't do trust and estates. We don't do anything other than the defense of criminal cases. So I can see that my trusty folks here have put, this is the first time I've tried to use this presentation here, so bear with me. But this is actually talking about, well, look at that, what I was just talking